They all froze the moment I stepped into the courtroom, my son's hand held firmly in mine. A collective gasp echoed through the room. Even the judge halted mid-swing, his gavel suspended in the air. Across the room, my ex-wife stumbled backward as if she'd seen a ghost. In a way, she had. "I thought he was dead," she breathed, barely audible. I gave no response, just squeezed my son's hand a little tighter. The child she claimed was gone. The child she lied about and buried in my memory. But I'm getting ahead of myself. 6 years. That's all the time I was allowed with him. His name was Alex. He had her eyes, but none of the frost that lived behind hers. Every evening, without fail, he'd wait for me at the door, a toy dinosaur clutched in one hand and a question always ready. "Can we go to the park today, Dad?" Then one day, there was only silence. They said there had been an accident, a school van overturned. 8 children lost their lives. One of them, they told me, was my son. I never got to see him. The coffin stayed sealed. Too damaged to view, they said. I wasn't permitted to say goodbye. His mother didn't shed a single tear. I thought maybe it was shock. But as the days dragged on and turned to weeks, her silence became unsettling. His photos vanished from the walls. She stopped speaking his name entirely. One night, in a voice stripped of warmth, she told me, "Stop clinging to a dead child," as if he'd been nothing more than a passing chapter, just a phase. I couldn't take it. I left soon after. I couldn't stand to hear her breathe, to see her continue life as though our son had never existed. But I never stopped visiting his grave. Every day, at the same hour, I took the same path and left the same flowers. Until that one day, when everything changed. It was gray and drizzling, the wind scattering brittle leaves across the cemetery. I knelt down, fingers gently tracing the letters carved into the stone. Then I heard it. "Dad." I turned slowly, my breath catching mid-inhale. There he was. A little taller now. Those same eyes staring back at me. I blinked once. Then again. Before I could speak, he ran to me, wrapping his arms around me. I held him tightly, unwilling to let go. I couldn't bear the thought of losing him again. "Where were you?" I choked out, barely able to speak through the emotion. He looked up at me, confused. I was in the room, the one with the camera. It took weeks to learn the truth. Carefully, slowly, I had to be gentle. He'd been conditioned to stay quiet. She had staged it all. The accident, the funeral, it was all a carefully crafted deception. Somehow, she managed to pull it off. I had to dig deep, calling in favors from old contacts and even a former private investigator who owed me a debt. There was no crash involving a school van. No obituaries for any other children. Only Alex. Only one falsified death certificate. She sold my son. Traded him to a man overseas. Private transaction, money exchanged quietly. I won't dignify it with any further description. But fate, I've learned, has a curious sense of timing. The man who bought him died unexpectedly. Alex, clever, quietly defiant, slipped away when no one was paying attention. He remembered the cemetery, remembered me. And he found me. When I saw him, I stayed composed. I didn't confront her immediately. She would lie, distort the truth, cry if she needed to. No, I wanted her downfall to come from her own actions, to be crushed by her own web of deceit. So I gathered everything, the financial trails, offshore transfers, emails she thought were erased, photos, names, call records, conversations Alex recalled, and I waited. Patiently. Coldly. The night before the court date, she called. Said she wanted to talk. I met her alone in a quiet cafe. She greeted me with a smile, as if nothing had happened. "I heard you've been asking questions," she said, swirling her tea. "Just grieving," I replied evenly. Grief makes you dig, she laughed, a hollow, bitter sound, still fixated on her own story. I leaned forward. Do you know where your son is? Her hand paused mid-stir. That's when I realized she hadn't heard the full truth yet. I left her with the bill and walked away. Then came the day in court. The room packed, lawyers shuffling papers, the judge poised to finalize the custody case. She believed it would be routine. But the door opened, and my son walked in. Alive. Breathing. Whole. Her face drained of color. She couldn't speak or move. I handed the judge the evidence, everything, documents, proof, faces of all those she deceived. She couldn't deny it. Not when Alex looked her straight in the eyes and asked, "Why did you give me away?" Tears came then, but it was far too late. Now she's behind bars, charged with trafficking, fraud, child endangerment. The list goes on. I made sure the charges stuck. Alex sleeps safely in the next room now. Though sometimes he wakes, panic in his eyes. I hold him until he calms. We never speak of her. Instead, we talk about dinosaurs, parks, which school he might attend next year. He's 7 now. Alive. Mine. I still visit that grave, the fake one, leaving fresh flowers. Watching the rain wash away the petals. It's a reminder of the lies she spun, and how I buried them all, with truth, patience, and fire. And the single word whispered one cold afternoon. Dad.